7 bone-chilling Appalachian horror tales that haunt you at midnight. The moon hung low, its icy glow spilling over the Appalachian mountains like a chilling blanket of secrets. Rumors whispered through the twisted trees, tales of things that should not walk in the night. Something more sinister than just wind pushed the branches. Were they fingers, beckoning? Local legends danced on the tongues of old-timers, each story darker than the last, each one leeching reality until it became pure nightmare. To the unsuspecting, these were mere ghost stories. But to those who had felt the icy caress of fear, they were warnings. Each flickering shadow in the woods felt alive, each hoot of the owl felt heavy with portent. At the heart of it all was Crow Hollow, a forgotten place cloaked in an unnatural silence, where even the animals seemed to hold their breath. They spoke of the Bone Whistler, a ghostly figure who played a sinister tune on a bone flute, leading lost souls into the dark belly of the forest. People went in and never came out, a chilling cycle of hope and horror. The tales had enough weight to turn even the bravest hearts to mush. They'd leave you with that tight chest feeling, your skin prickling with dread. What would they find next? The air crackled with electricity that night as Claire, a curious local with a fire in her belly, decided to seek the truth. Nothing could scare her away. Underneath her bravado, though, was a knot of unease that twisted tighter with every step into the hollow. She parted the shadows, her breath turning to mist, the forest's eyes seemingly watching her, waiting. The closer she got to the heart of Crow Hollow, the clearer the whispers became. Bone Whistler echoed in her ears like a melody from a forgotten dream. Just as she thought she could turn back, Claire spotted it, a skull, half buried, nestled beneath the roots of a gnarled tree. Her heart pounded. The stories surged to life, coursing through her veins. She could almost hear the Bone Whistler's eerie tune again, wrapping around her like a noose. Before she could react, a snapping twig electrified the air. She froze, a chill racing down her spine. What if the legends were true? Just then, a haunting sound rippled through the darkness, drawing closer. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The sound stopped, and Claire's breath hitched in her throat. She wasn't alone. A flicker of movement caught her eye, a dark shape slinking between the trees. Panic clawed at her throat as branches snapped, followed by a haunting whistle that seemed to come from all directions. Would she be another story for the old-timers to tell? The night closed in around her, the air thick with danger and uncertainty. Claire's heart pounded, her feet frozen, battling between fascination and pure terror. As the shadows danced and the whispers grew louder, she knew she wasn't just chasing a legend, she was about to meet one. Would she run? Or would she face the Bone Whistler himself? The world shifted. Suddenly, the air was alive with a cacophony of sound, laughter mingling with the haunting melody of the Bone Whistler. Claire's breathing slowed, every instinct urging her to flee, but a force deeper than fear rooted her in place. The shadow moved again, creeping closer, its shape becoming more defined, twisting like smoke in the pale moonlight. Something in her gut said this was not just a story, it was a reckoning. It was as if the forest itself was alive, melding with her thoughts, whispering truths and half-truths through the rustling leaves. The whistle resumed, but this time it was accompanied by a hushed voice catching snippets of words that wrapped around her like the fog rolling in from the mountain rivulets. Join us forever, the voice floated through the night air, sending icy fingers creeping down her spine. Hello. Claire tried to call out, her voice trembling. Was it even her own voice? It felt strange and distant. The shadows shifted, enveloping her. Then, the dark shape halted, almost hovering in the gloom, revealing nothing but an empty gaze. Where it should have had a face, there was only an unsettling void that seemed to blink in and out, like a tired old light. She gripped the gnarled tree, its rough bark dug into her palms, grounding her in this nightmarish reality. With a surge of stubborn resolve, she took a step forward, forcing herself to meet the thing that lurked just beyond the pale light. The bone whistler could become a part of her story, but not tonight. "What do you want?" Claire's voice broke the spell of silence. The shadow swayed, its movements almost mocking. Then a chilly chuckle echoed around her, ringing of hollow laughter. "What do I want? Ah, my dear, you've already come looking for me. Do you think one can just pluck at the strings of fate and not pay the toll?" A chill swept through the hollow, digging into her bones, yet something clicked in the back of her mind. She was here for answers, not just for herself, but for those who had vanished before her. "You're not going to take me like the others," she declared, emboldened by the surge of adrenaline and fury. "Take you? No, no. I am but a guide, a traveler's companion." They chose their own paths, the darkness murmured, wrapping around her like a cloak. "Pain and loss, the ties that weave us all together. You seek the truth, but will it bind you, or will you break free?" Such interesting choices. Claire felt her breath quicken, confusion swimming in her thoughts. She tilted her head, remembering the stories of old, the chilling toll the bone whistler exacted. What was the truth? Were the spirits of the lost truly following her? Or had she walked into a trap, ensnared by the shadows that whispered dangerously close? A flicker of movement caught her eye, scattering her focus. The branches rustled violently, and the air charged with tension, like something about to fracture before it snapped back into silence. There were eyes, watchful and expectant, lurking just beyond the veil of trees. "Choose your note wisely, dear Claire. The crescendo is building. Will you sing a song of surrender, or will you become a dirge?" The question rang out, heavy and taunting. Panic clawed at her insides as she stood between the weight of history and the thin sliver of her own future. The shadows loomed large, and with every heartbeat, the tale of Crow Hollow promised to deepen. She could feel it in her blood. The confrontation was some steps away, closer than she ever wanted to be. With the bone whistler waiting for her answer, Claire's taste of courage was mingled with dread. Was she prepared for what lay ahead? Just as her resolve began to solidify, a deafening whistle cut through the night. It echoed off the trees, drowning out her thoughts. In that moment, the whispers grew louder, shifting from eerie lullabies to desperate cries. What lurked in the depths? Claire took a step back, inching away from destiny as shadows lunged, threatening to engulf her once more. Would she be trapped forever within the haunting tale of Crow Hollow, or could she rewrite her story? The night hung heavy with questions, a fierce storm brewing in the silence, poised to unleash its fury. A sudden chill coursed through her, the answer almost within reach, when an unsettling sight snagged her attention. Yet another figure materialized amidst the brush. This one not cloaked in shadows, but in moonlight. Who or what was it? The truth beckoned, and Claire knew the moment to confront it was at hand. The figure stepped forward, illuminated by the silvery glow of the moon, revealing itself in stark contrast to the surrounding darkness. Claire's heart raced, pounding like a drum against her ribs. It was a woman, her features striking yet disconcertingly familiar. Long, flowing hair cascaded down her back, shimmering like starlight, and her gaze held an unsettling mixture of warmth and sorrow. "Claire," she spoke, her voice soft, yet it resonated like a distant choir. "You've come to face the whispers, Haven T.U. Who are you?" Claire's throat tightened, the air feeling thick and tense. The shadows seemed to recoil, almost in fear, as if the woman's mere presence was enough to send them scuttling into the depths of the forest. "I am one of many," she replied, her voice faltering slightly as if the weight of unseen burdens pressed upon her. "They call me Lila, a keeper of stories, a guardian of the lost." Claire felt a flicker of recognition, memories gnawing at the edges of her consciousness. "I've heard of you. The tales they speak of the one who could alter fate." Lila nodded slowly, a hint of sadness touching her lips. Fate is like a tapestry woven with countless threads, painful and beautiful all at once. You seek to understand, but beware, understanding can come at a steep price. Claire felt the shift in the air as the shadows tucked away, waiting for their moment. "I'm ready," she said, though doubt pooled at the bottom of her stomach. "I want to know why they were taken, why our fates are intertwined." Lila reached out a hand, her palm radiating an ethereal glow. "To know the truth, you must confront it, Claire. But with the truth come the echoes of those who linger in the shadows." As she stepped closer, Claire could see the grieving expressions of those long gone reflected in Lila's eyes. It filled her with both dread and a flicker of hope. "The Bone Whistler," she whispered, her breath hitching in her throat. "Is he part of this?" Like a hummingbird drawn to nectar, the Bone Whistler is drawn to despair. He thrives on the sorrow of lost souls. You are caught in his net, Claire. You want answers, but in seeking them, you might become part of the darkness. The sharp whistle rang louder again, piercing through the night, and Claire staggered back. The shadow of the Bone Whistler loomed larger behind Lila, his hollow laughter echoing through the trees. "Do you hear how they call for you?" The shadow taunted, its voice oozing with malice. "Join them, Claire. Embrace the melody of eternal rest." "No!" Claire shouted, shaking her head fiercely as adrenaline surged through her veins. "I want to be part of this. I refuse." Lila stepped forward, her expression resolute. "You have the power to resist. But you must choose your path wisely. Not everyone who disappears is lost, some find hidden strength within their shadows." With that, Lila withdrew slightly, and the air around them grew charged. The ground trembled, and the forest seemed to pulse with a strange rhythm like a heartbeat echoing through the ages. Claire could feel the weight of time wrapping around her, pulling her in all directions. "What if I can't resist?" she muttered, worry seeping into her voice. Just at that moment, the shadows coiled tighter, fixating on her with an oppressive hunger. But Lila raised a hand, a defensive barrier shimmering between Claire and the oncoming darkness. "Believe in your strength. Trust your heart. The Bone Whistler tests you, but you can rise above it all." The laughter grew more frenzied, a symphony of chaos that clawed at Claire's mind. She had to act and fast. But amid the panic, doubt gnawed at her resolve. Could she truly defy what had taken so many before her? Then, from the depths of the shadows, a figure surged forth, its features twisted by anguish. The scream that erupted from its throat reverberated through the night, chilling Claire to her core. It was the image of a lost soul, submerged in despair, a tangible symbol of what awaited her should she fail. Claire's breath quickened, and as she took a step back, she locked eyes with Lila. "I need to. No. I need to understand. Can I face this darkness alone?" The shadows hung heavy with anticipation, and the dangerous dance between fear and bravery began. Each moment stretched, pulsating with a dread that tasted bitter on her tongue. "Will you trust in the light, Claire? Or will you succumb to the depths of despair?" Lila's words struck like a lightning bolt, igniting a spark within Claire that was both terrifying and exhilarating, and just as the shadows lunged, searching for their prey, she whispered to the night, resolute, "I choose my own fate." A resounding whistle filled the air, echoing into the void. And in that chilling moment, a new truth began to unfurl, bringing dangers she could not yet fathom, what awaited her in the tangled darkness of Crow Hollow. And could she truly carve a new path before darkness swallowed the light forever? The shadows surged forward, a dark tide flowing with insatiable hunger. Claire's heart raced, each beat screaming for escape, yet she stood her ground, unwilling to be swallowed whole. The ghostly whispers reached fever pitch, each word curling around her like a vine squeezing tighter and tighter. "Hold on to your light," Lila implored, her voice cutting through the chaotic symphony. "When the darkness reveals itself, that is when your true strength will shine." With a deep breath, Claire clenched her fists. Lila's presence pulsed around her, enveloping Claire in a soft, protective warmth. It fueled her resolve. "Show me then," she demanded, uncertainty mingling with fierce determination. "Show me what I must face." In an instant, the air shimmered, and from the depths of the darkness sprang forth a figure, tall and haunted. It was a man, shrouded in shadows, his face twisted with torment. "You think you have the power to change your fate?" he roared. The deep, resonant voice echoed through the trees, causing the leaves to shake violently. "You're still just a whisper in the void." Fear lanced through Claire, but she pushed it down. This was just another layer of the Bone Whistler's cruel game. "I am not afraid of the truth," she shouted back, her voice trembling but full of defiance. "I will uncover what happened, and I will set them free." The man in shadow let out a chilling laugh, one that resonated through the night like a death knell. "Foolish girl. You'll unleash that which you cannot bind. And when the echoes of the past come crashing down upon you, you will beg for darkness to accept you." A rush of wind swept through the clearing, forcing Claire to shield her eyes. She could feel the pressure building around her, thousands of voices clamoring for her. Were these the lost souls Lila had spoken of? Ones she could perhaps save? Or were they mere illusions, crafted by the Bone Whistler to ensnare her heart? "Remember," Lila whispered, eyes narrowing as she looked beyond Claire. "You are not alone in this battle. Believe in your resolve." Gathering her strength, Claire took a step toward the shadowy figure. With unwavering intent, she called out, "I see you. You are not my fear. You are my challenge." The darkness around her writhed, the figure's form flickering as if losing its grip on substance. "No." It howled, frustration igniting its voice as it lunged for her. "You will succumb. You will hear their cries." In that moment, Claire felt the shift in the air. Shadows transformed into wisps of light, materializing into familiar faces, anguished yet pleading. Friends long lost, faces once etched into her memory, now looked back with sorrowful eyes. The pain of their absence rose like bile in Claire's throat. "What do you want from me?" she cried, the emotion tearing at her. "To remember," one of the figures urged, shimmering like a candle flickering against the storm. "To embrace your past, Claire. Only then can you sever your ties to the Bone Whistler's grip." "Embrace my past," she echoed, the weight of their shared history crashing down like a tidal wave. "Yes." Lila's voice surged in the chaos. "Remember, Claire. Your pain is woven into their stories. It is your strength." Claire felt the warmth in her chest grow as she remembered those lost memories, flooded back, faces bright with laughter, voices full of life. They lit the corners of her mind, sparking a fire against the encroaching shadows. The figure before her recoiled, its voice now a frantic hiss. "You can't. You won't. I will." Claire shouted, her voice fierce and clear, empowered by all she held dear. "And I will break free." As the bones of the past rattled and the darkness recoiled, the atmosphere pulsated with energy. Everything hinged on this moment. Would she break the curse, or would she fall into despair? But before she could grasp the outcome, the shadows whispered anew, swirling like a tempest. As Claire steadied herself, a blinding flash illuminated the night, blurring the line between panic and hope. What comes next? She thought, heart pounding, a question echoing as darkened fingers reached out, eager to take hold. In that breathless moment, Claire realized that every choice would weave her fate, every step a thread tugging pull through the tapestry of echoes. What would she choose under the weight of the past? Would the truth finally set her free, or would it bind her deeper into the Bone Whistler's web? The night held its breath, waiting for a reckoning. The light surged with a fierce brilliance, pushing against the darkness, illuminating the path that lay ahead. It felt like a lifeline, a beacon in a storm. Yet, Claire's senses screamed with urgency, the shadows were not finished with her. As the bright light surrounded her, it shifted into their faces again, friends, family, ghosts of forgotten moments. Their eyes, once filled with joy, now glistened with pain. The cacophony of their anguished whispers grew louder, merging into a single, haunting melody that struck at her heart. "Why did you leave us, Claire?" one voice lamented, twisting the knife of guilt deeper. "Why couldn't you save us?" The weight of their questions crushed her. It bandaged over her strength, winding tightly around her resolve. "I tried. I didn't abandon you," she cried out, the desperation in her voice echoing off the trees. "I swear." The figure shrouded in shadow laughed again, this time with a bitter edge. "Try not to lose control, Claire. Despair is the closest ally to those in the depths. It will be your strongest tether to us." "No." Claire broke through the noise, summoning every ounce of strength. "I won't give up. I will carry your memory, not your pain." Beneath her conviction, the swirling shadows hesitated, the flicker of doubt creeping into their ghostly features. With every word, Claire felt the warmth of Lila's light grow. "You are stronger than this darkness," Lila's voice rang clear, cutting through the heavy atmosphere like a knife. "You're not just seeing their faces. You're hearing their souls." At that moment, the shadows writhed and twisted, morphing. The figures began to blend, their forms losing specificity, becoming swaths of darkness with flickering lights. The weight on Claire's heart grew heavier. Memories she held dear twisted into a grotesque tableau, each one laced with regret, secrets she had buried deep within herself. Suddenly, the air shifted. The whispers swarmed closer, becoming a cyclone around her. "Face it," they chorused. "The truth has a cost." Her breath hitched, panic clenching at her throat. What truth? Was it the moments she turned away? The voices she drowned out? The wounds she failed to heal? "Remember your brother," one shadow called out, its voice filled with accusation. "He needed you. You ran from him, and look where it led." The accusation stung deep. Claire felt the ground beneath her tremble, the very fabric of her reality wavering like a mirage. Her brother, the one she had lost to darkness. "No," she whispered, memories cascading back. The late-night fights, the silence, the abandonment. "I thought I was protecting him." "Protection can come at a cost," Lila urged, her tone steady yet urgent. "You can't run from the darkness. Embracing the truth will break the chains that bind you." The shadows pulsed around her, the tension ripping through her very being. "I am not running. I'm standing here," Claire shouted, her voice trembling but fierce. With each strained word, she felt the memories shift within her, a melting pot of guilt, love, and longing clashing together. A sudden realization hit her, bright as the light enveloping her. "I can't erase the past. I have to carry it with me. I must face it, or I will lose everyone again." The shadows recoiled, the figure's form flickering wildly, caught between anguish and fury. "Face what? Your shame. Your failure. You can't save them all," it howled. "I can save myself," Claire screamed, her voice raw. "And I can honor those I've lost by learning from my mistakes." The darkness around her bristled, the wind whipping in a frenzied dance, reflecting the turmoil within. And then she stood alone, the light still flickering, but rock solid, between her and the howling void. Claire's heart thundered in her chest. She felt a fuse burning out, the air thickening with anticipation. All eyes, both living and lost, bore down on her. The reckoning was close, yet her next step remained shrouded. What ritual awaited her? Would the bone whistler claim her, or would she seize the light? With hope hung low on the horizon, Claire took a step forward, ready to embrace the truth. But the shadows lingered, waiting for her to falter again. Could she withstand the pressure, or would the darkness swallow her whole? The shadows whispered again, their voices curling around Claire like smoke. "You address your guilt, but can you face your fears?" Fear slithered through her veins, but she pushed it away. She had faced the worst. She had to be brave, for them. What do you want from me? She called into the swirling dark. The shadows recoiled, their forms flickering like half-remembered dreams. Everything, they hissed in unison, creating a deafening chorus that wrapped around her, squeezing her breath. Your past, your pain, your future. The ground vibrated beneath her feet, the world trembling as if waiting for a storm's fury to unleash. Claire pressed deeper into her resolve. You think you can frighten me? I've already lost much. I won to lose more. And yet, the ground continued to shake. The air was thick, heavy with the scent of betrayal and old regrets. Each breath came as a tremor, her reality slipping like sand through her fingers. With every moment spent in this grotesque realm, the bone-chilling realization set in the shadows could take more than she was willing to give. They could strip her of her very essence. Trying to fight us is futile, the figure wrapped in shadow boomed, its voice like gravel. You know this truth, Claire. You run, but you cannot escape, not from the memories and definitely not from your brother. A wave of anger, sharp and blinding, surged through her. He was more than that pain. He was her brother. The laughter echoed, dark and taunting, stirring a conflux of emotions within her. I'm done hiding. She shouted, the light around her flickering in sympathy with her fierce will. Suddenly, she felt warmth enveloping her. Lila's light pulsed faster, stronger. The shadows shifted, appearing almost wary. Embrace your memories, Claire. Do not let them consume you, Lila's gentle voice soothed. The light is not here to erase the darkness but to coexist with it. Coexist? The shadow figure howled, each word dripping with malice. Hope is the greatest lie. It weakens you. No, Claire shouted, finding strength in Lila's warmth. Hope is what keeps me alive. Without it, the darkness wins. The shadows surged forward, but the light exploded from within her, pushing them back. In that moment, she became a vessel of strength. The memories of laughter, joy, and love surged like a tide, drowning out the darkness. Your brother needed you, yes. But he would want you to live. Lila emphasized, her light illuminating Claire's path. And suddenly, amidst the chaos, Claire remembered the sweet moments, games they played, laughter shared late at night, the light of hope threading them together. The shadows faltered, their momentum stalling, faces etched with confusion. You can't hold on to those memories. They shrieked. They'll betray you. Not if I own them, Claire replied, a fierce determination hardening her voice. I grieve for my brother, but I celebrate his life. I will love him fiercely, always. You don't own me. With every ounce of will, she pushed further into the light, forcing the shadows to peel away, their edges frayed and slipping from her grasp. A horrible shriek echoed as they were cast aside, swirling rage giving way to sorrow. Claire felt the shadows retreat, their envy steeped in her unyielding light, but just as she felt her breath steady, a new chill seeped into her bones, more potent than before. Yes, you might have won this round, the figure floated in the distance, its voice faint but resonating. But you think the past is done with you? It lingers, just like your brother. And with that, the darkness slammed a wall of memories against her, a flood of images too loud to ignore. She saw visions of smiling faces, warped by sorrow, vice gripping her heart again. What had she truly forgotten? Would the ghosts of her past return to haunt her anew? As Claire staggered against the onslaught, she felt the familiar cold presence wrapping around her heart once more. The fight was not over, it had just begun. In the eye of the storm, Claire hesitated, her eyes scanning the horizon for a sign, a truth. Could she truly face what came next? The bone-chilling reality of her past loomed, ready to unleash itself upon her. What lay ahead? Dimensions of pain, or the long-awaited resolution? Would she break or reclaim herself? As shadows twitched at the periphery, Claire steeled herself, ready to confront whatever awaited, the next trial looming just beyond. Claire's heart raced as the memories crashed over her like a frigid wave, suffocating and relentless. The laughter of her brother mixed with cries of anguish, twisting like a knife in her gut. The shadows began to drift back, their tendrils reaching for her once more, heavy with the despair of everything she thought she had faced. The terrifying realization dawned on her: the shadows were not merely figments of fear, they were her past laid bare, the traumas cloaked in darkness that she had tried to bury. She squeezed her eyes shut, trying to block out the visions, but they seeped in, clawing at her resolve. A childhood birthday party flickered before her balloons swaying, cake frosting smeared on cheeks, joy untainted by sorrow. A small hand reached for hers, her brother's laughter ringing clearly, a melody she had tried desperately to keep alive. But with that laughter came a storm, images of the day everything changed, a time when shadows crept in and stole their happiness, leaving only echoes behind. "Stop!" Claire shouted, words bursting from her lips like cannon fire. "I own these memories. You can't take them from me." But the shadows only laughed, a cruel sound that echoed around her. "Own them? How can you own what is forever twisted by pain?" They lunged forward, hungry for her light, ready to drag her back into the depths of despair. In that moment, desperation pooled in Claire's chest and ignited a flicker of a different memory, a warm embrace from her brother, promising her they would always be together. She caught her breath, steely determination settling over her. "He wouldn't want me to drown in darkness. He wanted me to live." With that thought, she reached out to Lila, the warmth of her friend flowing through her as she generated a barrier of light. For every shadow that lunged, she pushed back, guiding the light to the memories of love and joy, each beam causing the darkness to flinch with pain. "Your memories are your power." Lila's voice rang out louder, stronger amid the chaos. "You weave your narrative. Make it bright." Claire grasped the glow surrounding her, the images of her brother intertwining with Lila's energy, growing stronger until they burst into a blinding white light. The shadows howled, twisting and writhing, but Claire stood tall, unfazed and unwavering. She felt the grip of despair lessen as she forced herself to merge with her past, the good, the bad, all of it. With one last surge of will, Claire threw her arms wide, flooding the area with brilliant light, sweeping the shadows back into the abyss. Their anguished cries echoed, fading into the thick fog of memory and lost hopes, their power dimming like a sputtering candle. Breathing heavily, Claire dropped to her knees, her chest heaving. The light dulled momentarily, leaving her surrounded by silence, the gloom reluctantly lifting. But even in her relief, a shadow lingered, a deeper darkness that pulled at the edges of her consciousness. The victory felt ephemeral, as if the true test lay waiting, hidden and patient. Just as she started to collect herself, a familiar voice pierced the air, soft yet haunting. Claire, it belonged to him, her brother's voice, laced with uncertainty. The ground beneath her trembled once more, a subtle vibration rippling through the dark. She looked around, her heart stuttered in her chest, it surged forth with dread. Where was he? Had she truly released the darkness, or was it simply biding its time? "Claire, don't let them have you, it's not over." Panic ignited. What did he mean? Was there more she needed to confront? An icy grip clenched her heart again, the whisper of shadows returning, more determined to claim her than ever. Could she ever free herself completely? As the tension thickened, Claire stood, steeling herself for the next clash. She had to find him. But could she leave the shadows behind, or was there more lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to strike? The air crackled around Claire, a palpable energy hanging heavy in her lungs. With each breath, an overwhelming sense of urgency surged forward. She had to find her brother, his voice, so close yet so far, wrapped around her like a living shadow. "Where are you?" she whispered, every syllable laced with dread. The silence was thick, almost suffocating. She scanned her surroundings, the landscape shifting from familiar childhood memories to a labyrinth of twisted trees and thick fog. It felt like a cruel trick, every step deeper into a haunting maze, echoing the labyrinthine corruption of her past. "Stay with me," Claire called, forcing herself to step forward. The ground felt unstable, as if it shifted beneath her weight. She could hear the distant rumble, a sound like thunder, but deeper, more primal. The shadows, which had retreated momentarily, began to whisper again, weaving through the air, hungry and insistent. Claire, the voice echoed nearer, a blend of comfort and horror that made her skin prickle. "Lucas!" she shouted, tears brimming. "I'm coming." With renewed determination, she surged through the thickening fog, each step requiring more strength than the last. Suddenly, the shadows coalesced into shapes, visions from the past swirling around her like a storm. She saw her brother as a child, laughing in the sunlight, the innocent joy unfurling into moments of anger, pain. She felt those emotions raw and vivid. It was a tempest, tossing her back and forth like a rag doll. "Face me!" she screamed into the void, arms outstretched. "You're not real. You can't own me." The shadows hesitated, recoiling as if struck by her resolve. But the voice, her brother's voice, was a lifeline pulling her deeper. "Claire! I need you to wake up from this. It's not just about what you see, it's what you feel." And there it was, the light in her heart, flickering, igniting memories of love, laughter, and warmth. She allowed herself to remember not just the happy moments, but the full tapestry of their shared life, the pain interwoven with joy, the truth coursing through every thread. "I'll find you!" she cried, her voice echoing against the shadows, clenching her fists with fierce determination. The air began to shift again. Could it be? Was the darkness retreating, thinning as her light expanded? With each realization, she felt a warmth spread through her chest, the numbness melting into courage. But the ground shook violently, a roar erupted from within the fog. "Claire!" The tremor was violent, knocking her off balance. The shadows erupted into chaotic tendrils, lunging at her with renewed ferocity. Claire fought against them, the light inside her radiating outward, flickers of her brother's laughter becoming a shield. "How many times will you fight this battle?" A guttural voice mocked from the depths, wrapping around her like barbed wire. "You think you're strong, but darkness waits for the slightest crack to seep in." Her breath hitched, urging her heart to keep pounding. She remembered their last moments together, the warmth of his hug, his promise, "No matter what, Claire, I will always be there." Suddenly, with terrifying clarity, she understood. "You can't break me, because I choose to remember love." The light burst forth from her, waves of brightness battering against the shadows, pushing them back toward the abyss from which they came. Yet the rumbling intensified, mirroring her heartbeat, matching the rhythm of her fear. Something deep within the shadows lurked, a presence far more potent than any she had faced. "Lucas!" she screamed, the name tearing itself from her throat. But in the swirling chaotic storm, only silence answered her, heavy and foreboding. She clenched her fists, driven by an urge to uncover the truth. How many more layers of darkness would she have to peel back to free him? And with that agonizing question still in her mind, a deafening roar shook the very ground beneath her feet, as an ominous shadow began to emerge from the fog, darker than before. What if this shadow was more than just a figment of her trauma? What if it was the very thing that had taken Lucas from her, waiting to take her down next? The shadow loomed larger, forming a grotesque silhouette that stretched across the fog-drenched ground. Claire's heart raced in her chest, each beat echoing like a war drum. The darkness whispered promises of despair, curling around her mind like smoke. "Face it, Claire," the voice from the abyss sneered, dripping with malice. "You think you can conquer me? I am the accumulation of every fear you've ever fostered." Claire felt a pang of doubt, a tiny seed planted in the soil of her defiance. But then, she remembered Lucas. The laughter, the warmth, the care they had shared. "I know who you are," she shouted, conviction gleaming in her eyes. "You're nothing but a memory of my pain." The shadow recoiled momentarily, hissing like a serpent. Claire seized the moment, pushing out her light with every ounce of love she could muster. The ground shook again, the roar building to a crescendo, yet the light surged, illuminating the tangled branches overhead and carving a path through the fog. "Lucas! Where are you?" she cried, feeling the energy of her own voice amplify her courage. The darkness jerked back, a reaction she could almost taste, a mix of fear and fury. The air grew cold, and with that chill came a haunting laughter from the unseen depths. "You dare to question your brother?" it taunted, the sound vibrating through her core. The laughter twisted, wrapping around her limbs, a chain anchoring her to doubt. "Stop!" Claire roared, forcing her feet to the ground, grounding herself as the tendrils of darkness wrapped around her. She couldn't let it win. Not after everything. Suddenly, the laughter ceased. Instead, she felt a presence, not of despair, but of something raw, pain she could recognize, a familiarity that sent her heart racing. The memories spun around her like a cyclone, and from that whirlwind, she caught glimpses of her brother's face, clear and vivid. "Claire, I need you to believe," the voice came again, more direct, more real. This time it was no longer just an echo, it was a plea resonating deep within her. At the heart of the chaos, she let the image wash over her. "I believe in you, Lucas. You're here with me." The shadows twisted violently, shrieking as if her words were a blade cutting through their clutch. She could feel it now, the connection between them was breaking through the fog, ripping apart the tendrils that sought to bind her, but the rumbling didn't stop. The very earth beneath her bucked and swayed, determined to keep her trapped. "What do you really think love can achieve?" The shadow snarled, a ripple running through its form. "Love does not fight darkness, it becomes it." "No." Claire yelled back, her voice unwavering. "Love gives me strength. It's what keeps me fighting. You're just a trick." With that, she concentrated, sending out a pulse of light, revitalizing every fragment of joy she held like a shield, crashing into the darkness. Shadows unfurled, twisting away as the light engulfed them, but then, the darkness began to writhe, reacting more violently than before. "You think this is over? You have just begun to skim the surface. What makes you think this is the only darkness that awaits you?" Claire sensed a growing dread, an echo of a truth she wasn't ready to face. As the shadow wavered, she could see the outline of something more, something lurking just beyond the verge of comprehension, a deeper evil, perhaps, a truth about their past she hadn't yet discovered. "Lucas!" she cried again, desperation filling her voice. But instead of a response, a cold silence fell, wrapping around her heart like icy fingers. She took a deep breath, knowing she couldn't falter now. This was the moment she had been waiting for, to not only face her brother's fate but to confront the very core of her fears. The shadows whispered, echoing her doubts. As the fog began to close in again, thickening around her like a shroud, Claire braced herself for the unraveling truth that was about to reveal itself. Would she be strong enough to break through the layers of darkness, or would they consume her both? In that moment, she stood on the precipice, heart pounding, the next step feeling like it would decide their fate. What other horrors did the shadows disguise? What other demons awaited her? The darkness thickened, swirling around Claire like a tempest, the shadows whispering truths and nothingness. Her heart raced, pounding with the desperation of a caged bird. She braced herself for the unraveling truth, the core of her fears lying just beyond her grasp. "I have to find you, Lucas," she shouted, the words spilling from her lips spiraling into the vast abyss around her. Suddenly, the swirling shadows stilled, freezing in the air as if the entire world were holding its breath. There within the depths a flicker of light blossomed, weaving through the darkness like a beacon calling her home. Claire felt the warmth radiate from the glow, filling the cold void with a sense of purpose. She reached outward, fingers stretching toward the vibrant glow, feeling it tug at her heart. A voice broke through, familiar and soothing. Claire Lucas's voice shimmered even in the haze, wrapping around her like a warm blanket. "Don't be afraid. Remember the love we shared. I won't abandon you, I promise." Claire replied, her chest tightening. "I'm here for you, always." The shadow shifted, its shape writhing and twisting like a serpent. You think love can save you? It's a fragile thread in this storm. The voice dripped with poison, laced with the echoes of her past. No. She screamed. You are not my fear. I will not let you define me. With a surge of energy, she concentrated on the warmth of Lucas's light, envisioning every memory, every laugh, every tear shared between them. In that moment, the shadows recoiled, as if attacked by her light. She pressed harder, confidence igniting within her bones. I choose to remember, to love. You can't take that from me. The dark figure loomed larger, but in the face of her defiance, it flickered, wavering like a candle in a storm. You fool. It spat, anger cracking its voice. You can't fight what has taken root in your soul. But Claire surged forward, holding tight to the memories of joy that painted her brother's love in vibrant hues against the blackened canvas of despair. I will face my fears. They are my strength, not my weakness. With every fiber of her being, Claire unleashed her memories, facets of warmth and laughter exploding into the gloom. The ground pulsed beneath her, radiating with energy as legends of their childhood unfurled around her, a montage of cherished moments, her brother's laughter, baking cookies in the kitchen, late-night talks under starry skies. Her love became a shield, pushing back the suffocating shadows that a deafening roar erupted as the figure screeched, its form twisted and contorted by her light. You can't escape me. I am all that you fear. Not anymore. Claire countered, her voice ringing with newfound resonance, echoing in the depths of that abyss. You hold no power over me. As she spoke, the whispers morphed, transforming into a harmonious chorus that mingled with the blaring shadows. Your brother will always be a part of you, Claire. Let that bond give you strength. In that moment, the darkness flickered again. Claire closed her eyes and remembered her brother's smile, flashes of sunlight caught in the wind, joy untainted by sorrow. She opened her eyes, emboldened. I embrace you, Lucas. I will carry you in my heart. With that declaration, the air vibrated, and a tidal wave of light surged forward, enveloping her, crushing the darkness in its path. The shadows writhed, retreating from the intense brightness, a flood of warmth and love cascading through. Face your truth, the skull-like figure hissed as it dissolved into the light, and in that moment, something within the shadows shattered. A quiet followed, almost reverential, and Claire stood still, breathing heavily, heart racing. Where there had once been chaos, there was now a profound sense of release, as if she had severed unseen ties binding her to the darkness. Lucas? Claire whispered, feeling the echoes of the past give way to silence. The stillness felt alien yet comforting, a space where healing could begin. Can you hear me? Always his voice lingered like a melody woven into the wind, with those final words. Resonating in her heart, Claire felt an echo of his warmth surround her. The shadows had dissipated, leaving behind only the residue of lessons learned. Claire took a step into the light, filled with resolve, her heart tethered to her brother's memory instead of fear. This was not the end but the beginning of a journey, her journey. An endeavor to honor the past while moving forward into the unknown with strength as her guide. She faced the open woods, each tree standing tall against the night sky, the moonlight illuminating the path ahead. Crow Hollow was behind her, but its echoes would forever shape her. She felt free to live, to love, to remember, and as she turned away from the darkness, a sense of peace enveloped her, wrapping her in a comforting embrace. Goodbye, Crow Hollow, she whispered, knowing she was finally ready to write her story. Now, here's where it gets real, folks. If you want more fantastic tales like this, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep the good stuff coming, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this gripping conclusion. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support makes all the difference, so come on, let us keep the adventure alive.